Rightio, New Zealand show, back for another week, and it appears we have a new sponsor, RM Williams. Have they come on board as a sponsor, Cam?
Yeah, well, they're an official sponsor of me, Paul, so you can claim it if you like, but...
He's not bad, because he didn't actually know that was coming. I just threw that one out as I saw
the Aussie companies love backing Kiwis, you see?
Is that what it is? They're probably owned by you guys, or they probably started in New Zealand, but we claimed them, is that right?
No. South Australia, even I know that, Paul.
What's the horse over your shoulder? Chris Elford, who's that horse? Against the world.
I reckon it's... I reckon it could be Stress Factor, I think.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's a Stress Factor,
Yep,
yeah.
Brett Lilly, yep.
Yeah.
Won the Derby, won the Breeders' Crown. Yeah, good horse.
Yeah.
Just levelled off. He just found a bit of a mark here in Australia. He's he has.
We've got them all. We've got them all around the office.
No, that's just got the master there.
Prairies.
Master there in it. I got a couple of his videos going up. How's your week been in New Zealand, mate? Or 2 weeks, because I didn't get the show out last week. It's a slight technical issue. I didn't get the show out, and this show is going to be a little bit condensed compared to what I want to do. But just had a little bit going on backwards and forwards, Cam, at the minute.
Yeah, no, things are good. We're in full catalogue production mode, so we've just been staring at pedigrees for the last week or 10 days, and we'll do for another week or so.
You'd love it, wouldn't you?
It's good times. It's good times, but it's a pretty essential part of what we do. So you got to do it, you know.
Very good. Racing on the weekend. I saw New Zealand. I was actually working at Kilmore, and I got a couple. Also, I want to highlight out at Kilmore. The Kiwis haven't had a bad week in Australia, to say the least. Especially Nigel Armstrong will be watching. He'll be saying, "I better mention it, Ballarat." But your racing the other night, especially John Dunn's training effort at Addington. Was it Addington? Yeah.
It was Addington. Yeah, Trotteurs.
Just sensational with Sunday Sun winning, but trifecta in the race. And I'm not sure who actually ran third, but Matadeiros,
Chief of Staff did, yeah.
And Matadeiros running second, and it actually might have won a nice grass race the other day at someone's track.
Yeah, good grass track too, premier grass track. Hasn't that horse? It's come over here and it's ticked away nice, and it's just gone boom, hasn't it? Yeah, it's got all the pedigree in the world, that Matadeiros, but it's really starting to live up to it.
Yeah, it's out of cookie, isn't it? I'm pretty
sure.
Yeah,
it is, mate. Yeah.
It's quite an interesting thing. It's an inspired move, sending him over there. I suppose different training regimes and all the rest, but something that may happen a little bit more often too with the Trotters. Like you see them here at the minute, the lower grade ones, Andy Gaff takes and seems to be able to put them through his classes pretty solidly. Although I reckon, you guys are awake up a little bit to Andy now. They're not quite as proficient at doing that as what they were. But it may be a way of some of these faster class horses that we have that are on a tight mark. It might be another racing opportunity is to send them to New Zealand.
Well, and obviously we've talked about this extensively, that the open class ranks here in New Zealand do get picked off pretty easily to Australia. So it does leave some holes in our sort of open class racing. So it does lend itself then to a potential target from Australia and coming over and giving it a good crack, you know?
Yeah, it does. It does. And he was always a nice horse here, but he's definitely taken it to another level. And
arguably that's the best field that he's come up against, and he stepped up again. So that'd be real pleasing for Johnny and the team.
How good is Sunday Sun, though?
Well, he's a very good horse. Yeah, and he's consistently been a very good horse.
Yeah.
And you would say he's got bigger fish to fry than that race, but it's good though. Like, it was a good field.
Absolutely. I watched. I was actually, as I said, was at Kilmore, and I watched the race. Oscar Bonavino, the horse of Mark Purden's, has just gone sensational. I think it's run about third last. Like, that's how good your field was. You watch them and you just shake your head. It's just ridiculous, and it's a great spectacle. And there is. Got nothing to do because I'm doing a New Zealand show. I just love watching trotters around that track. I just think it's one of those tracks that's made for trotters. It's a spectacle. They look good. It's a bit like Maryborough was last Sunday, but we've got 4 Sundays in a row at Maryborough Harness Racing Club, and for some reason I think trotters just seem to look better at certain tracks, and I reckon Addington's one of those tracks.
Yeah, no, nice big roomy track, isn't it? And you can really get a good look at them.
Yeah.
The way they're doing it.
There was a bit of controversy in the other race, though, with Mark protesting against Nat.
They might have gone home in separate cars, I suggest.
Johnny Stiven, good mate of mine, and NZB, he won't be happy at all. There was, like, you could clearly see the interference there, but it was just a very, very interesting one, wasn't it?
We don't see them probably that often here in New Zealand, and when you see partners going at each other like that, it's good for the sport, the drama of the sport.
Definitely. I know a few people, as I said, I had about 3 drivers watching, because I had the Sky 2 channel up, and I had about 3 or 4 drivers watching it, and then they came back, they said there was a protest, because when you watch it live, you say, well, Nat's going to hold off Mark, so you'd sort of walk away before they hit the line. But anyway, that didn't happen, so they all came back saying what happened, and because I was working, I didn't actually get to see it, but it was good. That highlights.
I don't think you can even see it in the replay. It's just the Stipes vision. You could see that it clearly shifted ground.
Yeah, it is a little bit tricky. That race though highlights something that you said about the I suppose lack thereof of fast class horses in New Zealand at the minute, which is a bit of a worry with your big carnivals coming up.
Yeah, and I suppose there's just probably currently there's enough opportunities around too. We've got Ashburton on Monday with the Flying Stakes and the likes down there. The Kaikoura coming up leading into the Cup. So like there's a number of different. Probably from a punting perspective, it's hard to get a gauge on it, but we probably have as many opportunities now as what we did 20, 30 years ago, and we've probably got half of that sort of class of horses.
Yeah.
So it just takes the exposure away. Like, you can duck and weave a wee bit more, probably so now than what you could once upon a time.
Yeah, just worry some of these horses, like America's very attractive, and I think the Yanks are still very keen to buy as many horses as they can. And it was an issue here, especially in Victoria, 2-3 years ago. New South Wales was like a destination place, and then they went on to America. New South, where we've probably stabilised a little bit now. All of a sudden, New South Wales don't have as many, but that could also be because the King of Swing goes there, consistently races there, and people can't beat him, so they don't. They say we either go to Victoria or overseas. So hopefully, it will self-right itself. People will see an opportunity.
Probably the one thing that's probably helping us at the minute, as far as America is concerned, is the cost of getting there is prohibitive. If we were in a normal world, you'd probably see a lot more going, because I think the market is very good up there. And when you look at the results of, say, Yonkers and places like that on Saturday night, the Australian New Zealand horses are doing a very, very good job in bolstering their fields.
Trainers and drivers aren't going too bad either, are they?
They go all right. Yeah, they go all right. There's a couple of fellas up there go good.
The McCarthy boys, Dexter, and the likes. I see Shane and Lauren Tritton. They must be breaking in a couple of horses every day. I don't know if you follow them on Twitter or not. Every day you get them long reining these horses, and where their complex is just looks sensational. It's beautiful and green, and it's really, really cool. So, and actually, what's his name? Lochinvar. He got busy at Lexington Sale just recently as well.
Oh, good. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, they've just come through the Lexington Selected Sales, so they were, just to touch on them briefly, they were very good again. The way they structure their sales, they obviously have a book 1, book 2, book 3, carries on. So you get those really lovely horses making plenty of money. I think I see up to 800,000. I think one yearling made. So
that was a trotting filly, wasn't
it? Yeah. Well, you can look through the results. The trotting gate actually, outdoes the paces quite considerably now.
Wow, serious?
Yeah.
Sweet Lou, I think there was one sold for 400,000 because I'm sponsored by Woodlands. I openly, I've actually got all their gear. Yeah, I am. I got all their gear on. I just realised. Yeah, I just kept that out, which is a good result. But he's doing a very, very good job over here.
Well, he's turned the corner here, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah.
I think that we spoke about the trialist in New South Wales that beat them by bloody 3/4 of a lap at the track. They get a few more of them on the ground and. Goodness me, but they are winning a lot of races here in New Zealand too.
His name escapes me at the minute. That horse, it starts with S. It started in the Breeders' Crown at Menangle on Saturday night.
Oh yeah,
and he led, and I think he went 150. Well, he went about 150 and 5, but he got beat. He just decided to try and run him. But a horse called Ultimate Ronnie, who I think is a better's delight. We
looked up the results of that horse, didn't we? Blistering with speed. He got a lot of speed, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah,
A lot of speed.
he has, and possibly tries to expose his weakness in the rest of the opposition a little bit early. But that's okay. But I do like the way they're going. Just quickly on Woodlands, down by the seaside, I did an interview with Mark Hughes Wednesday last week, and I believe all the collections have taken off, so people got to be aware that
good.
Yeah, but go back and have a look at the post anyway. But he is back serving, which is good, because he's hit the ground running in America. So we need as many quality stallions going as we can.
Exactly, and he's come through a pretty serious operation, and he's come out the other side of it. So it's good to hear that he's back on the job.
In good hands. I do love that countryside. Some of the photos and videos they put up at that place. I have been there. That's one of the few places I have been there. Had a nice time actually there with Andrew Grierson and Mark Hughes. It's a lovely part of the world, and I look forward to getting over there very quickly. Which way will I'll keep on to the Kilmore one just for the minute, Cam. I was actually working at Kilmore, and there was a couple of really nice winners. One was a horse called Helliver. John Justice trains this horse. He's by Mac 3. He very lightly raced over there, but quality horse. I wasn't sure if he went through the NZB sales, but you're saying to me that he was actually homebred?
Yeah, well, Gavin Smith trained for the breeders, who's good clients of his, stable clients of his. So I'd suggest the horse is either gone there as a weanling or was bred there. But Gav's done the groundwork there. I think he had 4 starts, I think we said, here in New Zealand before being sold over there. So and he looks like hit the ground running since going over there too.
Yeah, he took him off the arm, and he's actually working up to the deaf. I'll actually scrub the video forward once he gets to the deaf, but it was very, very wet. He wears a high head check. He's a funny horse. He wears a fair bit of gear, which sometimes, not being a smarty, sometimes some of the Kiwis, they come over here and they can wear a little bit more gear. Like I think you guys gate them up sensationally. But he just looks such a lovely horse. And when John said go, you can see he's just working to the devil. But when John said go on him, with about 400 to go, he just exploded, and just high speed Son of Mach 3. He's just sensational to watch.
I'd have to go back through. I'm just trying to think of the family. I'd have to go back through and have a look. But from memory, it's a reasonably good family. Keep talking, and I'll tell you along the way. But
well, we've got 200 to go, and look, it's not a star-studded field that he's put away, but it's just the way that he done it. And as I said, with the conditions, you can see that it didn't stop raining the entire night at Kilmore. I was talking to the track curator about half an hour before the first. He said, there's not much on the radar. We'll be pretty right. And it started just after race 1, and even when I left, it was still just bucketing down. It was like this cloud just perched over the track and said, thank you, I'm just going to unload you here. And unfortunately for the club, the Kilmore Racing Club, they actually lost their meeting on Sunday because of the rain. Did
they?
Yeah, they had to. There was no worries there at all. The other place that I do get a little bit sponsored for, and I want you to watch the horse 3-back the outside in the blue and red colours. Cravache Dior is this horse. He's a son of Orlando Vici, and there is a reason I want it. There's 2 reasons I want to. The depth in our 2-year-olds at the minute is sensational. Josh Duggan's driving him. You can see him there. He's about last in the middle, and he actually goes for a gallop here. I don't think he likes being bunched up, and he just had horses all around him. I haven't got. This is the official footage that you can actually watch on HRV. When I was doing Trots Vision, the producer actually showed me the steward's footage, and he is 50 to 60 metres behind now, and then he tacks on, but it's his last lap. Actually, I'll just better go back a touch here. You can see he's there last in the picture, but I clocked this horse trotting 57.6. His last half for a 2-year-old trotter that's missed at 60 metres and stuff like that. He's just a phenomenal run, and Anton's got a depth of really nice 2-year-old trotters this year, and this bloke's right up there. It's just arrogant the way that he actually wins this race.
Once he got on the job, he actually looked like he's good going sort of trotter too.
Yeah, definitely. And he's got such a lovely style. And right here, he's catching up to him. So Josh Duggan, for people who aren't aware, that's him getting a 5th. He works for Chris Elford, has for ever and a day. I don't even think he works for him. He's just part of their family. He pulls out 3 deep as he tacks on. He just keeps his momentum rolling. He knew Chris was going to pop out underneath him. So he's actually already pulled him 4 deep because he knew the boss was going to shove him. And then just he savages a line. The reason I'm highlighting him is, as I said, I am sponsored by Haras the Trotteurs, but Orlando Vici, his service semen is well and truly available in New Zealand for anyone wanting to breed the Trotters, and he's doing a good job over here. So, but this is a good win, and we've got our Redwood Carnival starting next week. There was a really, really good. Actually, this Sunday, we've got a really high-class 2-year-old trotter over here called Plymouth Chubb for Peter Manning, who's next level. I didn't get his win of the Tatlow. I should have probably got it for people, but he's really good. But our 2-year-old trotters are sensational. I don't know how many Kiwis are coming over to contest the Redwood Carnival, if there's any at all. But yeah, I reckon it might be staying in Victoria this year.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, well, I'm not too sure, mate. I think everyone's sort of travel, it's going to have a massive impact, I think, until we get to a situation where we know we can get home.
Yeah.
That's our biggest problem at the moment for travelling, going to Australia, is that regardless of how you are, you can probably get over there. You just won't know when you can get home.
Yeah, which is a worry, but it does change all the time. Like, we weren't looking like getting out of hard lockdown, I think, until Christmas, and I think all our borders are nearly going to be open by December. Here in Victoria, we open up to New South Wales, which is a worry next week. But yeah, so as long as you're vaccinated, here at all our race meetings now, you have to have had 1 dose by this Friday, so you have to have been vaccinated the once. And I think you've got till the end of the month to be double vaccinated. Otherwise,
I see somewhere. I was watching the gallops on Saturday. I see Peter Moody, except in the Caulfield Cup, he said it was tinged with a wee bit of sadness. He had to let a couple of his stable girls go that either didn't want to get the jab or whatever, but obviously mandated by the governing body there that they had to have it. So, shame how that all works out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I do a little bit of work with the greyhounds over here, and James Vandermeer is a very he's sensational talent, absolute gun at calling, gun presenter, a lot of fun. He's been let go. He'd be potentially the Mick Guerin of the greyhounds. To say the sort of class that he's got, this guy. He'd be nearly as close to Mickey Guerin, that's for sure. The equivalent, but they have no choice. They had to let him go. So he's gone, and there's 4 or 5 other blokes that have been in that same position with him over there as well. So it is an interesting one here. A few of them are believing that it'll only be short term, and then they'll be back. Hopefully they're right. We're led to believe that you've got to be vaccinated, otherwise that's it. You'll never be allowed back on. So I don't know.
Yeah. You can sort of see a wee bit. You can sort of see the reasoning behind why they're being so forceful with it too. To be fair, there's such a mandate to get everyone vaccinated. Racing shouldn't be any different.
No, it can't be.
No.
You saw what Jamie Carr and all those guys done recently. That if we turned around and didn't do this, they'd shut us down. What about?
Exactly.
We're going to show a couple of races at Ballarat, but our CEO announced stake turnover yesterday for the Victoria Cup meeting, that race meeting, just shy of $10 million turnover through the TAB on that Saturday night. We actually were working at the Greyhounds, which is on the same complex. Anyone that's been to Bendigo knows there's no fence between both tracks. They are dead set on the same complex. So simultaneously, they ran a meeting at GRV, and I live streamed it back. There was 6.7 million turned over at the Greyhounds. There is in excess and the overseas turnover hasn't come in for either meeting of that yet. So there's going to be in excess of $17 million turned over at Lord's Raceway on a Saturday, which is just amazing figures. I'm sure there'll be. They had the good races, but just phenomenal.
It just does highlight to you, probably under the current circumstances, betting turnovers have gone through the roof, haven't they? During lockdowns and bits and pieces, as people obviously that use it as an outlet or whatever. We're seeing in New Zealand actually a slight downturn in recent times because Auckland being in a hard lockdown and the TAB outlets are closed.
Yeah.
Obviously in South Auckland, that's obviously a big thing they like to do is head on down to the tab and sit around there all afternoon, punting up, So that's having an effect here. So it's ironic, isn't it?
That actually happened here. In ours, there was a massive downturn initially. And then I think everyone got their head around, well, the only way we can bet is to get our accounts and have them online and everything. And then it changed. It did take a little while. I can remember initially, I think people were like, oh, we'll just hold off for a couple of weeks and won't have a bet because, we'll be able to get back. And then one day there was this realisation and it's just gone through the roof. So, so I think that Vic Cup meeting it's definitely the biggest non-metropolitan track recorded in Victorian harness racing, but I think it actually was the biggest. I've just got to be careful. I can't remember the Inter-Dominion. The Inter-Dominion turnover may have been bigger than it. Our last Inter-Dominion night, it may, but it's up there in that same field. It was actually released yesterday, so which was really, really cool. Ballarat, mate. I'm actually going to go with the Oaks. Queen Elida for Brett Lilly and Chris Elford got the job done. I love this little filly. I think she's a really, really nice mare for connections, but she it actually races in the Empire Rose colours too. So, but lovely filly, very, very professional and real class act in the way that she does it. Probably looked like she was beaten by about 3 or 4 different horses, but just keeps getting the job done.
Oh, it does, mate. And look, it's actually a full to. I don't know if you remember not this last yearling sales, yearling sales before we sold it. Trotter out of the same mare, full brother, I think, to the Queen Elita for 280,000.
Who took it?
Emilio Rosati got it.
Right, have to keep an eye out for that one then too. So so it'll be racing next year.
Yes.
Right. Well, he'll be loving this. But she's a very, very expensive mare. Now, the horse outside of it, they've got about 200 metres to go, and the horse outside of it in Bangles has had 4 starts, trained at Ballarat. It's had 4 horses for courses, had 4 starts at Ballarat, and has never trotted the whole way. Sometimes we say about, she's one of those trotters, you just put a line through her at Ballarat. She just does not like the track at all.
They cut the track.
Yeah, and I think Connections would have been gutted when they saw that Melton was still called off and went back to the country. They might have been happy with Bendigo, but not Ballarat, I'd say. So it's quite interesting, but she's just a lovely little mare, and well done to Connections. Is there one going through the sales next year?
I don't think so, no. I think they had a bit of trouble getting the mare in foal.
Yeah, it does a good job.
It's always the way, isn't it? When you get a couple of crackers, you end up having a couple of years off of the mare for whatever reasons.
Yeah, it happens a lot. It's quite interesting. You talk to people and you say, "Oh, why is there no more? Oh, we can't get her in foal. We've tried everything and we can't get her in foal." Now, my old mate Nigel Armstrong, I asked him if he knew what Zoom was because I have a few issues at the minute through being able to catch up. And he goes, "Zoom what?" He had no idea, but he has put me down as a part of the ownership of Spellbound. I'd get in a fair bit of trouble if I didn't show her race, but great for Connections, great for everyone involved to see her get the chockies in a Group 3 and a quality Group 3 on Saturday night.
Oh, a big ownership group too, including
Rachel,
one that sits in our office here. Yeah. So she's up and about.
Well, she probably belongs as a witch a bit better than me, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I don't know how a guy becomes a witch.
Oh, did you say witch?
Yeah, I said witch. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to go. I thought you might have said something else then. But no, you're right.
But she just went enormous. Like that, and they are nice mares in this race. It was on early on. Like I mean, she posied up, but yeah, she's. For Connections, they're going to have a lot of fun, I think. Although you look at Amazing Dream, Better Twist, there's plenty of quality mares from New Zealand tending to come over here.
It's reasonably ironic. She was the first to sort of get away out of it, but they sort of followed her over there to a certain degree, haven't they? But again, I do think she has stepped up since landing in Australia. She's back on the job now by the looks of it. So yeah, good on her. And I think we actually may have a half an hour sale to Spellbound.
You got to get your head around these pedigrees, mate, and probably next week or the week
after. I've seen that many different horses. To be honest, I've seen that many different pedigrees, and I've seen Spellbound pop up in a few of them. So, but I'm bloody certain we got a half in the sale. Anyone
watching, and like I love the Ballarat track because it doesn't have a sprint lane, but to do what she's doing when she half lengths a horse 3 deep and run away, they don't do that a lot at Ballarat. It's one of those tricky tracks. The horse sitting on her back, whose name's just escaped me. One of the stride horses. Anyway, she's an enchanted stride. She's a high-speed, fast horse. Pantheus, the other stablemate, getting up the inside of her as well. It's a Group 1 winner. It won the Breeders' Crown last year. So it was a very good field. And she was there to be beaten, and that was her first up run. So so Nafe's doing a good job. He's got a good bunch of horses, but I reckon I'm going to get there very shortly and do a bit of a stable chat and just highlight some of the horses he has got and go from there. There's that many New Zealanders. They'll be saying, why aren't you there now, including one Nigel Armstrong.
Yeah. Well, you do tend to like to take a lot of the best things here in New Zealand, don't you?
We do. We definitely do. I keep saying it, mate. I'd rather be back there, but that's okay. We won't go there. It's a beautiful part of the world, and I'd really like to be there. That's for sure. What else you got?
This country's split in half anyway, because he's COVID in the North Island. Haven't had COVID in the South Island for what, more than 12 months, 18 months now, and we're under a sort of a soft lockdown, and potentially New Zealand Cup will be a restricted race, restricted entry, and numbers restricted, and we haven't had a bloody sign of COVID for over 18 months.
Unbelievable. You'll be right. You'll get there. What else you got?
Not much else, mate. No, you've sort of got it all, really. Oh, no, actually, I'll tell you what, you go back to Kilmore, there's a maiden trotter at Kilmore I thought was pretty handy. I don't know if you know this Marie Campbell, Sheila, but it goes all right.
It was indeed. That wasn't staged at all, but no, we did. We've actually...
And then what was the other one? Sorry, I wrote it down here before. What was the other one? You said Swan Hill last night, wasn't it? There's another one at Swan Hill last night, wasn't it?
We've had a nice week. We had a maiden Cam Bray, we had a maiden trotter that, and I'm sure everyone's had it. She's had a pretty expensive life, a lot of vet bills and the likes, but it don't matter. You don't worry about it once they win a maiden. She won the maiden at Kilmore the other night, and then one of our stable favourites won for us last night in B Little. We're pretty happy with him too. So it's been a good night for Campbell's Campbell's racing, I must say, or a big couple of weeks. So, mate, thank you. As I said, thank you to my sponsors as well, Haras, Trotteurs, NZB stud. When are the catalogues likely to be out? When's the expectations for the next?
I think they go to print the first week in November, and then you'd like to think that we'd have them hopefully in Australia early December.
Mate, there's no chance. The way the post is working, we had enough trouble getting your catalogues before Christmas last year. So
yeah, we've pulled it forward. See, we would normally wait for the New Zealand Cup Carnival and get those results in, but we've made the decision. We'll shut off as of this weekend. Normally get Ashburton in, and then that's it.
Officially, that is not bagging NZB, just so people are aware. It's the Australian Post. We sent something express post. We got something sent to us express post the other day, meant to be next day delivery. It was express posted Monday, and we got it Friday afternoon at 4:00. It's just the post here is horrendous. Yep.
Well, I sent you something, you ended up with someone else's bloody thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I was thinking, Cam's been nice. He sent me a little Kiwi toy.
You got some poor kid's toy from Queensland.
It was meant to be 2 boxes of catalogues, and I got one little toy. It was just ridiculous. But anyway, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. You guys go online as well?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's
so it'll be online very early November.
I better get myself, because you guys have the app where you have the
Yep.
Yeah,
we use Eco Online app, yes. So that'll go online pretty much the same time, I think. So if you've got an iPad, you can use the iPad application, which is basically turns your iPad into a catalogue.
Yep, and that's key. That's what I will definitely be getting one of those, so we can have it at the ready. I've got to buy the iPad part first, but I'll get there. You'll be right. All right, mate. Thank you. As I said, Woodlands stud down by the seaside standing, but here in Australia, I think Sweet Lou, Seaside, American Ideal, they're all booked out too. So here in Australia, because of our stay-in limits, so which makes it different. You guys and Haras Trotteurs, as I said, Orlando Vici. I've got some more things coming with those guys very, very shortly as well. So we'll get there.
Nice.
But, all right, mate. Thank you very much. It's a lovely morning here in Australia, and I'll be in touch. I will be doing some different ones. I said it a couple of weeks ago, but I will be getting my head around it, and we'll have some early interviews during the week, and it'll be a very, very different show next week. But you'll probably be back on, Cam Bray.
Oh, you want to keep the ratings up, don't you?
Yeah, I like the headset look too, so it's even better. We feel like a disc jockey. Cam Bray, thank you, mate.
See you, mate.